Welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We continue to take a look on the solutions to the Zimbabwean problems, and let us take a look on what Dr. Walter Mzembe has raised so far. This is very important because as we move forward, as we have a conversation about change in Zimbabwe, we must have direction. Dr. Walter Mzembe says, the truth shall set the people free. A Zimbabwe National Dialogue initiative that does not include the army is an absolute waste of time. We still have a remnant of the November 2017 command element that should help in this much sought after reset. Otherwise, in a few more years, it shall be impossible to engage the same army whose command element would have changed completely and subordinated to dynastic politics. Let's reset a prosperous and inclusive future Zimbabwe for all now. Tomorrow may be too late. We can do it. And this is very true, Team Zimbabwe. At a certain point in time, we need to agree that the military must be on the table, because the military is also our problem right here in Zimbabwe. What is happening is, if you go to 2018 elections, the military failed us. If we go to 2023 elections, the military also failed us. The reason why we have the military so powerful is because a commander-in-chief must be elected through an election. That is how a commander-in-chief is got. That is how he gets the power to command the military. Which means when we go to the elections, when we go to the polls and somebody is elected the president, in the polls, that person automatically becomes the commander-in-chief and is supposed to be installed and to be inaugurated as such. Must take the oath of office. And the military is there to make sure that whoever wins the election becomes the president and becomes the commander-in-chief. So the military can't be complicit to allow, number one, forever associates of Zimbabwe to operate like the way they operated. That was treasonous. That was a terror activity which happened in our land. And the military never cared. And they will never want that truth to be told, but that is the truth. But meanwhile, let us hear what Julius Mawarire said in the past, because it's something very important to note that this was discussed.
Process. That includes the citizenry, that dialogue process. That includes the citizenry, that includes the civil society, and that includes the army, because the problem in this country is the army. The army is the one that moved in and took over ZANU-PF. Mangwana does not belong to ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF belongs to the army because the army moved in on the 15th of November, and we are favored by the reasons why they moved in. They wrote the so-called command element of the army moved in, and they have signed the minutes. They said, we are moving in because we have realized that ZANU-PF is going to lose the election, so we are going to take over ZANU-PF from Mugabe and those that support him. So the army imposed someone who had been chased away from ZANU-PF, imposed him as the president, and that person then called an illegitimate election. So the problem that we have is a constitutional crisis that needs every one of us. I expect General Valerio Sivanda to be among us here. I expect General Chiwenga in his full military gear. Don't be fooled by hearing that he's the VP. No, he's a soldier. We expect Sibusiso Moyo to be here in his full military gear. And we begin actually to get to hear their concerns. Why they moved in to take over ZANU-PF. Why they moved in to take over the state. Why they moved in to take over government. And until we do that, we are never going to have sustainable peace in this country. The hallmark of foolishness is doing one thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We did that in 2008, ignored the army, and had political parties negotiate something that was not sustainable. 7 or less than 10 years down the line, the same army moved in and took over power. So we need the army. We need to dialogue with the army. Zimbabwe is actually another
So this is it. This is something very important to note as the people of Zimbabwe, that indeed any form of dialogue which is going to happen, it must also involve the military. It must also involve those who seize the power from Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Because if we do not involve them, then we will be joking. That is a fact. We need to agree on that, because we cannot continue to have the past hounding us. We can't continue to have these things happening around us. And I agree with Dr. Walter Mzembe. I believe that a national dialogue in Zimbabwe is going to serve. It's going to leave everybody satisfied. If we fail to do that, other people will remain problematic and troublesome, because they will feel that they have been left out. This is the reason why I believe that there is need for us to have that dialogue. There is need for us to talk as a country, as a nation. And the person who is letting us down is Emmerson Mnangagwa. Emmerson Mnangagwa is the de facto president, the caretaker. He was supposed to be facilitating that dialogue amongst all Zimbabweans. And that is very important to note. So at this point in time, we will wait to see. We can't have dialogue under Pollard. We can't have dialogue under some bogus organization or formations. We need a dialogue which is going to happen transparently, and which is going to involve everyone, including the military, including the army. That is true, and that is very important, because they will make their concessions known. They will tell us, they will explain to us better the reason why they are interfering with the local politics. So we can't continue to actually think maybe they're doing this for ABCD. No, we can't continue like that. We need them on the table to come and explain clearly what are they thinking, what do they think, what do they want to do, because our nation as Zimbabwe must move forward. If we continue like this, at a certain point in time, people will say enough is enough, and Zimbabwe might plunge into a chaos, into a civil war, and a lot might start to happen. That is not the direction we want to take. Take a look on how the opposition people, supporters, were brutalized in Harare. They were unarmed, they were arrested, and they were beaten like that. You know, when you arrest somebody, you have power, you have authority, you have put them in custody. You don't need to beat them. Why are you beating them? All those issues, they need to be discussed, because the military must make sure that it protects everybody. This is the last line of defense in terms of protecting citizens and protecting everybody. And it seems as if they are failing to do their mandate. They are failing to do their job. When the justice system fails, when the policing system fails, the military must be the last line of defense for the people of the republic. And we are seeing it failing to happen. So it is what it is. We'll continue to watch and see. But I agree with Dr. Walter Mzembe.